A relationship can be one of your life's most exciting and fulfilling experiences. But just like any other friendship, relationships also have their fair share of challenges from time to time. As much as you may want them to, not every relationship is always perfect. Some people just rub each other the wrong way for no apparent reason, and others may clash over minor issues that end up breaking trust and causing irreparable damage. Next, we'll tell you 10 warning signs you need to be aware of. Number 1. Trust issues. When two people form a relationship, they entrust the other person with their most intimate details, thoughts, feelings, and desires. The relationship is built on mutual trust and the expectation that the other person will keep their word. But what happens when trust is violated? How can you tell if you've been hurt by someone? Toxic relationships can begin with a single incident that causes you to question yourself and your judgment. In a healthy relationship, you have the sense that someone can be trusted to keep their word and not harm you in any way. But as your relationship becomes more toxic, you begin to question your trust in others. As time passes, these trust issues affect your self-esteem and ability to trust others. Eventually, you may find yourself doubting the intentions of anyone who tries to get close to you. Number 2. Is there always a lot of drama? Healthy relationships are, by nature, filled with ups and downs. Even the best couples have arguments and disagreements now and then. But when someone is constantly creating drama, it's a clear sign that things are way off track. When someone constantly puts you and your relationship in the headlines, it's a sure sign that they have an agenda. Toxic people love to create drama for the sole purpose of taking attention away from themselves. When someone is constantly trying to one-up you, it's a sign that they are insecure and jealous. They are so driven to be the center of attention that they will do and say anything just to get a reaction out of you. Toxic people cannot handle the fact that they are not the focus of your attention, so they will constantly find ways to get your attention back. Number 3. They gaslight or lie to you. Toxic relationships thrive on manipulation and gaslighting, two tactics that make people doubt themselves and question their perceptions. The moment you start questioning your own thoughts and feelings, you've crossed the line into unhealthy territory. A toxic person will gaslight or lie to you when they feel entitled to do so. A gaslighting partner loves to turn conversations around and question your integrity, even if you're being completely honest. When a partner attempts to deceive or manipulate the truth, it's a red flag that you're in a toxic relationship. When someone in a toxic relationship gaslights you, you may begin to doubt yourself. You may even start to question your perceptions of things. This is dangerous territory because it makes it difficult for you to trust yourself. Number 4. Shallow conversations. If you and your partner are constantly talking about the weather or work, it's a sign that the conversation is shallow. Healthy relationships are built on deeper topics. It's important to find topics of conversation that are meaningful to both of you. Healthy relationships are based on healthy conversations geared toward building each other up as individuals. When you and your partner end up on subjects like sex, your partner's appearance, or what you had for breakfast, you've gone off track. Healthy conversations are based on topics geared toward building you up as an individual. Healthy conversations are about sharing life experiences, hopes and dreams, and critical societal issues. Number 5. Name-calling and put-down humor. Someone who uses name-calling and put-down humor is a toxic partner. This type of humor is not only hurtful but also immature and disrespectful toward the other person. When you are around name-calling and put-down humor, you must take a step back and reevaluate the situation. A toxic partner is someone who finds themselves cussing and making fun of their partner or vice versa. This type of behavior is usually a sign of insecurity and jealousy, two things you don't want to be a part of in a relationship. Toxic partners are often people who are insecure and jealous. They constantly put other people down in an attempt to feel better about themselves. Number 6. Control tactics and betrayals. At first, it may seem like your partner is trying to control you by enforcing certain rules and restrictions on you, or that they are enforcing a code of conduct. However, when someone tries to control you, it's usually a sign that you're not good enough for them. When you constantly enforce the rules in your relationship, you can assume that your partner does not respect you. This type of control is usually a sign of jealousy and insecurity. Number 7. Is it always someone else's or your fault? This is one of the most common signs that a relationship is toxic. If your partner constantly blames you for the breakdown of the relationship, it means they are too quick to take offense. It's essential to keep in mind that everyone makes mistakes, but the issue here is that someone who is in a toxic relationship constantly makes excuses for their partner's mistakes. At the same time, they are too forgiving of their partner's mistakes. You should also remember that if your partner makes mistakes, that doesn't mean they deserve to have someone else constantly pointing them out. It's also important to keep in mind that you can both be at fault in a relationship. Be aware. When you have arguments or issues with each other, it doesn't necessarily mean that your partner is toxic to you. So try to differentiate. Number 8. They always see themselves as a victim. Although it's important to empathize with your partner when they are going through a difficult time, you mustn't let it get to the point where they constantly see themselves as victims. Someone toxic often sees himself as a victim of their partner's behavior. They constantly blame you for things that have nothing to do with you. This can easily lead you to take on negative traits, for example, by believing them. You constantly feel like you don't have a choice in certain matters. You feel like you need to apologize for things that don't need to be apologized for. You feel like you are being judged for things that you don't even do. Number 8. They always see themselves as a victim. Although it's important to empathize with your partner when they are going through a difficult time, you mustn't let it get to the point where they constantly see themselves as victims. Someone toxic often sees himself as a victim of their partner's behavior. They constantly blame you for things that have nothing to do with you. This can easily lead you to take on negative traits, for example, by believing them. You constantly feel like you don't have a choice in certain matters. You feel like you need to apologize for things that don't need to be apologized for. You feel like you are being judged for things that you don't even do. Number 9. You are constantly thinking about how you will end the relationship. In a toxic relationship, you may constantly think about how you will end the relationship. Toxic relationships often leave you with a sense of foreboding, whether because you already know that things won't end well or because you don't want to get hurt. You often find yourself thinking about what you would say if you ended the relationship. Suppose a relationship has left you thinking about ending it. In that case, getting yourself back on track as soon as possible is important. It's also crucial that you don't try to end a toxic relationship on your own. If you are in a toxic relationship and have contemplated ending it alone, you need to talk to someone you trust. Number 10. They constantly manipulate you. You do and think things that are not typical for you. Suppose you are with someone who is constantly manipulating you. In that case, you are indeed doing and thinking things that you usually wouldn't. If someone is manipulating you, you must try to catch yourself and analyze your actions and why. You often find yourself doing things that you would never do otherwise. You may find yourself apologizing for something that you didn't do. You may find yourself being passive-aggressive. You may find yourself being excessively nice to your partner. You may also find yourself being overly critical of yourself. Conclusion. At the end of the day, a toxic relationship is one in which trust has been violated and one partner is trying to control the other. A toxic relationship can harm your mental health, and you may develop unhealthy coping mechanisms or use